Hello. In this video, we're diving into two of the most widely used software architectures, the monolithic architecture and the microservice architecture. Let's start with the monolithic architecture. In this traditional model, all the components of the application are packaged together as a single unit. Essentially, all functionalities are part of one codebase. As we can see from the diagram, the monolithic architecture includes a user interface that acts as the front end, where users interact with the application. Within this architecture, all components with different functionalities are bundled together into a single application. Finally, a single centralized database supports the entire application. Now, let's move on to the microservices architecture. This model structures the application as a collection of small, independent services. Each service, or microservice, handles a specific piece of functionality and can be developed, deployed, and scaled independently. Looking at the microservices architecture illustration, we notice that, like the monolithic architecture, it has a user interface as the front end. However, unlike the monolithic model, it features multiple microservices. These microservices are loosely coupled and each manages a specific functionality within the application. Each microservice has its own database. Additionally, we see an API gateway, which acts as an entry point for client requests, routing them to the appropriate microservice and providing functionalities like rate limiting and load balancing. To better understand these architectures, let's consider an online shopping platform. In the monolithic architecture, users interact with the platform via a web browser. The user interface handles inputs and displays information such as product listings, shopping cart details, and payment options. All components, including the shopping cart, payment, and inventory, are part of a single unified codebase and are deployed together. This single unit connects to a centralized database that stores all platform-related data, including user information, product details, order histories, inventory levels, and payment transactions. Now, in the microservices architecture, the entry point and front-end layer remain similar. However, there is an additional layer, the API gateway. This gateway routes requests to the appropriate microservice, handling authentication, load balancing, and sometimes caching. It simplifies communication between the client and various backend services. In this architecture, we see multiple independent services, each responsible for a specific functionality, such as payment, shopping cart, and inventory. Each microservice has its own dedicated database, optimized for its specific needs, enhancing data encapsulation. By now, you should have a clearer understanding of both monolithic and microservices architectures. In our next video, we'll discuss the pros and cons of these two architectures. Stay tuned.